that grow over the years. Special interest money already threatens to overtake some of that grassroots support, and this decision obviously increases and expands the opportunity for special interests to influence the outcome of elections. We will be sending out the alarm to citizens as we work to try and scale this back to let them know that their democracy, little d, is at stake. And that may rally more grassroots support, because now you really do have a situation where this has got to be a wake-up call to every citizen that they cannot allow the big corporations to call the shots on these elections. And so we're going to be working very hard to get the word out. We have had to fight these special interest monies in previous cycles. As you know, there are other forms in which some of these special interest money can already get into elections, but this essentially allows big corporations to mainline those monies into these elections. And so there are two ways to deal with it. One is to work, as Senator Schumer and I have been doing for weeks, to identify ways that we can respond legislatively. And I would certainly hope, as the Senator said, that this is a bipartisan issue. This should be a bipartisan issue. This is a question of making sure every citizen's voice is not drowned out by big corporations. But that's one. And the other two is a call to action to people around the country who do not want their democracy to be taken over by the biggest special interests in the country.
Senator Schumer, most folks, I think, when they think of these special interest ads, thought of things to run by like the Sierra Club, National Right to Life, those sort of ads, which are, associations. Is there a way to carve out corporations separate from those and allow the interest groups to run them?
The whole point of the Supreme Court decision says no. They say you can mainline money right from corporate treasuries onto the campaign field with no limitation.
I mean, when you guys try and tackle this, I imagine that a lot of folks wouldn't mind having those groups be able to run ads with their...
Well, those groups can do it now. I mean, it's not changing things for those groups. And, there are corporate groups that do it too, but there are certain limitations that have always been out there. This just brushes away all the limitations.
Mr. Van Hollen,
yes.
Could you kind of give an example of candidate X? What, in your viewpoint, happens to that candidate? What types of ads? What volume of ads? How does it affect his campaign currently?
Well, sure. Again, let's say you had a member of Congress who wanted to make sure that we held AIG accountable. Let's say we had a member of Congress that wanted to hold another big Wall Street bank accountable. And they decided that this legislative effort to protect the public good ran contrary to their interests, their profit interests. You could have an ad. I mean, again, we're looking through this, but the consequence of this decision, you could have an ad run directly against that candidate paid for by AIG. And this allows those corporate treasuries. What's that?
Any
you could
number of ads.
Unlimited number of ads, unlimited amount of money, anywhere they want in the country.
Let me give you an example. So somebody's fighting the drug industry, and they decide to make an example of this candidate. They put $50 million of ads against this person. He loses. How many others are going to go oppose the drug industry? It's poisonous. It's poisonous to our democracy. And, the court is very cute here in a certain sense. Oh, you can't say don't elect Smith. But you can say, Smith's a horrible person, call him up and tell him not to be so horrible, and that's an okay ad. Who are we kidding? It's the same exact thing. And it can be done no longer 60 or 90 days before the election, but up to the day of the election. This will dramatically change the structure, the warp and woof of campaigns, for the worse. And this is what so upsets me. At a time when people are feeling estranged from their democracy, this is going to make it so much the worse. I do believe, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, this threatens the viability of our democracy. This threatens the viability of what we're all about here. because we know how much money, both of us from our experiences, I'm here today as head of the Rules Committee, but obviously, both of us know how much money can influence things. Both of us know how it's unaccountable. Both of us know how the ads can exaggerate and twist and successfully win. What is happening here? And I am appalled at Justice Roberts and Justice Kennedy, because there's always a balancing test in the First Amendment. You can't falsely scream fire in a crowded theater. We have libel laws. But when it comes to democracy versus corporate power and wealth, there's no balancing test.
Mr. Schumer, there was a report last week that insurance companies were spending an estimated $10 to $20 million to oppose the Democratic health care plans, and they were funneling it through another group. It seems like corporations already are spending a lot of money.
Right now, a corporation cannot take money, just write a check out of its treasury and fund a whole campaign against a candidate. After today, they can, unless we're successful with our legislation. That's the difference. There have many different limitations on them now. That's blown away. And these limitations have been in existence since 1907 in the Tillman Act. And they're gone. So the idea that this is, this is the worst of Buckley v. Vallejo. Anyone who had nightmares, any of you strange people who might have had nightmares about Buckley v. Vallejo like I do, this is it. Okay.
If actually all the other questions are asked about this issue of health care, can you provide any update about where that stands?
Well, I think, I don't know what happened at the House caucus, but we're all exploring the right way to go. Obviously, you cannot just proceed as if nothing happened, because something very significant happened. There's a strong view